Hey everybody, welcome back to our Overwatch Hero Grandmaster series, and we're actually on our 5th video now with Coach Theory. Very excited to dive into this one, and we actually put a poll up on YouTube seeing what people wanted to learn next, which hero. As part of our cycle, we're back to the support role, and everyone chose Baptiste, so we're very excited to dive into this. I know I've tried to play Baptiste probably not very well multiple times, but I've also been on the receiving end of a good Baptiste, and it's not very fun. So excited to really peel back the layers of this support class and dive in with Coach Theory.
All right, so Baptiste. When we're talking about Baptiste, he's going to be a more high healing output kind of support. So, you know, if we're talking about maybe like a Lucio or Mercy, they're going to be focused on different kinds of util. Like Mercy has her damage boost. She's going to be playing for a more poke, slower comp. Lucio's going to be playing for a very fast comp, and like Zenyatta, same thing with Mercy. He wants to play for his range and damage over time. Baptiste wants his tank to get up close and personal, so that's going to be your brawl tanks like Reinhardt, Ramattra, Zarya, those kind of things. Tanks that want high sustainability, and at the same time, Baptiste has that triple burst, and he can kind of help their tank win the tank war on the front line with that sustainability at the same time. First thing, his primary fire is just going to be a burst rifle. It's very good damage. It's like almost a DPS damage, really. And so if you really want to just be mixing them in with your heals, and your heal is going to be your secondary fire, which is just a little grenade, which provides AoE healing. So any teammates in this range can get heals. So you could be healing all 4 of your teammates at the same time with this. And it's really important that you're maximizing your damage. So if you just really quick, you hold left click and right click at the same time, you're going to be able to do 2 damage bursts and then throw in a healing shot right after. Okay, so that's going to be the maximum damage. If you want more healing, then you're just going to be focusing on doing 1 damage burst and then a heal and then alternating that way. Okay, but most of the time you just want to be doing 2 damage bursts and then a heal in between, based on the situation, of course. Okay. The really cool passive Baptiste has is his ability to charge his jump by crouching. The longer you charge it, the higher you're going to jump. Okay. And this allows you to easily access high grounds to, of course, be safer from enemy divers or just anybody on the low ground that doesn't have mobility. So he's very strong in maps that have high grounds that he can access. Okay. And then his first ability is going to be an AoE heal just around him. It's called Regenerative Burst. When you pop this ability, it's just going to do an initial burst of heals and then an additional healing over time on your team. And if they are below 50% HP, it's going to do 2 times more on the initial healing burst. Okay, so very, very strong ability. You want to make sure you're saving this for when they're below 50% HP to get the full value out of it. And his other ability is going to be this Immortality Field. Anybody that's in this for the duration cannot die. They will just simply go down to 10% of their total HP, and they won't be able to die. They can't go into that. And it's important that you place it on corners or just any places of cover to LOS from the other team, because the Immortality Field can be broken. But as long as you're placing on a corner, then it'll stay up and you will be able to save your team. His ultimate, a very strong ultimate. When you place this down, it's a little window, and anything you shoot through will get amplified. This goes for damage and healing. So my damage is going to be 3 times more. You can one-shot squishies if you hit all 3 burst shots on the head, and your heals will also be amplify your team. So very high sustain, and it really just does a really great job of controlling the lanes for your team. So just make sure you're grouped up with your team when you're going for these ults, and you'll get lots of value. So look at my support. I have Ana. Okay. That means I can trust her to provide some kind of healing to my team at least. And then again, I have a Wrecking Ball, so he doesn't need as much sustain as a Brawl tank. So I can be looking for more damage. Okay, Doom's just in my space. We're forcing Doom out. Okay. And we want to be poking this Pharah anytime we see her. It's not like we have to kill the Pharah, but it's just about limiting the angles that she has on my team. My fashion up, and now we're forcing the Doom back out before we do anything again. The Immortality Field to sustain all of this. You can see there, I'm waiting till these threats actually come onto me before I use my cooldowns. If I'm not getting dove by Doom and Pharah isn't taking an angle, then it's important that I'm saving my cooldowns for any aggression that does come onto me like it did there. And I end up dying, but we trade me for Doomfist, which is obviously a great trade. And he over-aggressed on me when I had my cooldown. So what he should have done was try to, take more fights, try to force out my AoE heal, maybe force out my Immortality Field, and then hard team it on me. But because he didn't, I'm able to sustain long enough so we can get that trade on him there. Okay, we're poking fair almost here. See, I'm always looking for damage because my damage is, you know, going to support my team just as much as my healing is. Immortality field there to keep my bastion up. Okay. In my team, we use the AoE heals, keep them up. Okay, so that was really good. And so they did a great dive on us there. But what ended up happening is I was forced to use my immortality field on my bastion because my bastion was playing too in the open. And because of that, I didn't have my immortality field to save my team from whenever the ults came through. So that's something to keep in mind when you're playing any hero. If you're just playing with the Baptiste, if you're playing over aggressive and he has to use immortality field on you, now he can't use it for the more important cooldowns that comes at your team. Okay, there I have the discipline to save my cooldowns because I know I'm in cover. My Ana can heal me up. When you have window, the main thing I'm thinking about with window is, does my bastion have his turret form? Because that's going to be the biggest damage output to get value with the window. Okay, again, Doom hard commits on me. Okay, now I react by just using my cooldown. Simple, right? But it's important that I'm not using my cooldowns unless a hard commit happens on me. Point. I'm gonna window for my Ashe. Ideally, my Bastion would also be playing this angle with us, but he obviously isn't thinking about window. Yeah, my Ashe walks here. I don't want to be here, but my Ashe is here, so I need to be on this angle so that I can let my Ashe stay through the window. They do end up EMPing window. It's fine. Okay. So as you can see, it's really just about being disciplined with your cooldowns, and this kind of goes for every hero in the game, but for Baptiste, it's very important because both of his cooldowns are reactive defensive cooldowns, okay? As opposed to, if we look at other supports, we have like Ana, okay? Her nade is going to be used more aggressively, you know, things like that. Maybe Zenyatta is just going to be using his orbs. Nothing defensive about his kit, right? But Baptiste, both cooldowns are very defensive, and on top of that, he has a jump which could also be used to escape. So he just has all these cooldowns to help sustain his team, and that's why he's so well synergizing with brawl comps, and as opposed to the dive comps, because my Wrecking Ball wants to take shorter fights, but my cooldowns all enable him to stay in the fight longer. So it just doesn't really make sense for you to play a BAP with a Wrecking Ball. Healing my team as we cross the open space. Forcing Wrecking Ball out. I'm gonna go take this high ground angle with my Ashe. Gotta keep our Bastion up.
That was a fatal shot.
Yeah.
I've got you.
Just always looking for damage. Every opportunity I can do damage, I'm looking for it every single time. I'm only hard sustaining my team if they absolutely need it, because the damage is going to get so much more value than just killing my team a little bit more. And I should have played more passive there, and so I would have had more time to use my immortality field. But same thing, I get Sombra hacked. I do have my regen heals, yeah, AoE heals to pop to respond to that threat. full HP, looking for damage, looking for damage. Mercy pops ult, so we're gonna have to give up a little bit of space. She does get the res as well. So here we're just kind of playing the waiting game, but poking as much as we can so we can build our window. And we're disengaging to this corner here. Alright, all good. So they just committed their support ult, so they win that fight. Now we have our support ult, so we should theoretically win the next fight.
What's up? That wasn't my best shot.
When I'm popping my window, I really am wanting my Wrecking Ball to have cooldown so he can aggress and maybe boot people into the line of sight of the window. And same thing, I want my Bastion to have turret form so he can give value as well. Okay, first we gotta sustain my team through the Wrecking Ball. Okay, now we're walking because Wrecking Ball's first out. Looks like we should already have the point because we committed Bob and Nano, so we're gonna save window.
You're going to be fine.
Okay, Wrecking Ball's trying to find my Ana, so I'm coming back to help her.
I got you.
We're looking back at point. And here I'm gonna use my window.
Let them up.
Good EMP by the Sombra.
Nice dedication.
Man, like my Wrecking Ball is, you know, like half HP there, but he's not gonna die. He's fine. He's not actually in need of heals. I'm gonna get so much more value if I just keep my aggressive angle and damage their team down instead.
Doctor's orders.
Pressure more, pressure more, and when this more is getting forced out, then this Wrecking Ball is not going to be able to stay in as long, and that's going to give me so much more value again instead of just killing my team and not looking for that damage. Gotta be careful, this Tracer on my Ana, but once my Ana is healed, I'm looking away. My Ana needs heals, I look back, and I'm looking for damage. Okay, Ana needs heals, we look back.
I'm reloading. Give me a second. Hello.
There we go. So the more you can maximize your damage as a support, the more value you're really gonna feel that you get, because damage really is just more valuable than heals. If you can trade damage for heals, I would take a damage every single time, unless not healing my teammate would result in their death, if that makes sense. Okay. Like I was talking about before, I have a Mercy. Mercy wants to damage boost my Echo as much as possible. So in order for her to get that value, that means I need to compensate for her lack of heals. And so I need to like be mindful that my Mercy wants to be interesting. Okay, I don't have a Mercy anymore, but if I did have Mercy, I would need to heal more. Now that I have Lifeweaver, Lifeweaver is going to be looking for healing more, so I can be looking for damage more.
Who's not to me up?
Okay, they're playing a Wrecking Ball. It's important that I'm saving my cooldowns for the dives. They're playing a very heavy dive. They have the Tracer and the Genji. So I'm just turning to match this Tracer every time I can. Pressure the Tracer, and then I'm looking back at my team. Look, shots at Tracer. Okay, now I'm pivoting back to my team. And like I forced that Tracer out, and now I'm just focused on bursting down the front line instead. Because it's important I don't look at the divers too long if they're not like actually engaged in the fight. And because since I noticed they weren't actually committed to the fight, then I just pivot to something else until they re-engage on me instead. Here's the same thing, just keeping my team sustained, but always looking for damage. Damage Wrecking Ball, okay, I see Curie. We're just trying to limit the amount of shots we're taking, playing this high ground so that this Tracer is having a hard time getting to me. She'd have to do like a bunch of parkour, and that's gonna cost her blinks and time. Damage. Same thing, just looking for damage, Oh, Wrecking Ball's up. Okay, now we're forcing Wrecking Ball out. Here, I get low, so now I pop my Empress. Kira's on me, I would force Kira out, force Kira out. If I got low here, I would use Immortality Field. I don't, so I save Immortality Field. Same thing, we're just looking for damage. Force Wrecking Ball, force Wrecking Ball. Okay, now we gotta contest this Tracer. Okay, we force Tracer out, back on Wrecking Ball. So it's just a constant game of where can I find the damage. And it's really important that I'm keeping this Tracer marked so that I don't have to use my Amperst until she really hard engages on me. If she can force my Amperst without even using her blinks yet, then I'm at a very big disadvantage when she does commit on me. I see Tracer, land some shots, went back to my team, force some Wrecking Ball. Okay, Genji's here, and then I use Immortality Field. And I'm just trying to LOS this Genji as much as I can. Okay, and now I get pulse bombed, and I don't have any more cooldowns because they already forced them with the Genji, which is fine. But here, I really would have liked to see me jump back up to a high ground. I don't like how I stayed on low ground for so long. I could have just jumped back up to a high ground behind me, and then I probably wouldn't have gotten pulse bombed by the Tracer. So it's important that you're always repositioning to high grounds when they're, you know, there for you to access them. Okay, sorry your grabs. I'm looking for shots, but the Wrecking Ball got sucked out of grab. Wrecking Ball is the only person in, so we're just forcing Wrecking Ball out. Looking for damage, looking for damage. Okay, Genji's in, new target. Now we're forcing Genji out. Okay, Genji's dead, back on the Wrecking Ball. And it's because nobody can heal this Wrecking Ball, but say if a Kiriko was trying to come help him or an Ana was taking an angle, now we're pivoting back to the Ana, taking shots on Ana, and then we're just looking for damage on Wrecking Ball. So as Baptiste, you really are just a third DPS for your team that heals. Like, that's really how it is. So just really focus on maximizing your damage output when you can. Okay. So now I have a Tracer and a Soldier, at least during this point. I don't know if they're going to switch, but when you have a Tracer and a Soldier, you know, I can think that they are kind of more self-sustainable than, say, another DPS like a Bastion. A Bastion is going to want my help a lot more, but Tracer's going to be playing around her health pack, Soldier can play around his heal pad, so I don't need to worry about these DPSs as much. I'm going to just be focusing more on my Zarya when I can, and same thing, I'm just maximizing my damage output. So on this map, we're going to all walk up the stairs and control our high ground. All dives. I didn't use my Amperst because it's not needed yet. But now Genji commits on me, so now I use Immortality Field, right? Saving that for aggression. I'm playing reactive with my cooldowns at all times. There I used my Amperst. I wish I didn't use it. That was bad discipline. I should have saved it. Okay, life rate getting dove. We're reacting, keeping my life rate up. We force him Wrecking Ball out. Right? We force him out. Okay, we pivot back to my team. I'm just looking for damage, looking for damage. Put my Zarya on point. And just from this high ground angle, I'm able to lift my team. My Empress, okay. So here, I would have liked to see me rotate back down to my team. My life root does end up pulling me down here. There, it's like we either have to hold high ground or hold down here. We just need to rotate somewhere together. And it ended up being this is where we decided to be. So that was rough. The Genji dove on me. I should have Ampersted, but really what happened before is I stayed on that high ground too long without my life weaver. And because of that, I was forced to use my cooldowns. So then when I did end up rotating, I didn't have cooldowns for when I actually needed them with my life weaver. So it's just a slow rotation from me. Or you could also say that it was a bad rotation from my life weaver to leave me alone. Either way, one of us needs to recognize it and stay with the other one. Okay, we have window. We're forcing Genji out. All we need to do is force Genji out. And I was honestly just slow on my Empress there. I didn't think I would need it in time. Just got punished. Low, we immortality field to keep her up. Jump up to high ground. Wrecking Ball out, we give up space. So we're having a very difficult time trying to actually take high ground because they just have so many heroes that are able to dive my team, and we're having a really hard time sustaining it. So what we should be doing is either trying to path left side and go low ground, or all try to take high ground together, because we're just a little bit too split. So what I should be doing here is just playing more passive. I'm trying to commit too hard to these options when I just need to play a little bit more slow and let my team poke these angles out. So now we go all the way left side, and this is really bad that my team's here, but because my team's here, I still need to be here to support them, right? It's just that this is a very tight choke, and there's no angles for us to take. We just walk out the choke, and we're basically just free kills. You know, my window didn't get any value. Ideally, we take the high ground, and I window from high ground, but that's how it goes sometimes, right? But it's important that you're always supporting your team, even if it's a bad play. Very important. No matter who you're playing, any role, any hero, you always have to play around your team, because it's a team game, right? Now I have a Roadhog and I have the Pharmacy, so I'm trusting that my Mercy is going to sustain my Pharah the whole time. You know, if I still had Mercy, he's on Lucy, but if he's on Mercy, I shouldn't be having to heal my Pharah. I think he's actually, no, he's just speed boosting us out and then switching back to Mercy. So here, I don't need to worry about Pharah. I trust my Mercy to help my Pharah, and then I should be sustaining my Cassidy and my Roadhog as much as possible so that my Mercy can continue damage boosting my Pharah. But then same thing, my Roadhog, he has a lot of self-heals for himself, so I don't have to heal him as much. Okay, we're crossing through open space. We need to use our cooldowns to get the cover. And we're just forcing Wrecking Ball out, Okay, now we're sustaining, getting cooldowns back. Okay, we hear Genji to our left. We're trying to help our cast. I should have been closer with my cast there. I think my cast was playing too aggressive. We could play more passive angle together, but it's just the same idea. One of us needs to recognize that we're split and then just compensate, right? It's not the perfect play, but we need to be playing together. Okay, forcing Wrecking Ball out. So what I would really be thinking about with Baptiste and your cooldowns is what's the main cooldowns you're going to be trading your cooldowns for. So like a Genji dash, a Wrecking Ball like pile drive, those are the main things in this matchup that I want to save my amp, whatever the amp burst heals. And Immortality Field is if they're hard committing, usually you can be trading that for ultimates. Wrecking Ball's in, and we're just giving up space until we give up, until we are able to force out Wrecking Ball, and then we're retaking that space, but we end up losing this fight, all good. So we have window. Whenever I'm using this window, main things that I'm thinking about is, does my Roadhog have his hook, and does my Cassidy have his roll? That's really it. As long as they have those cooldowns, my Cassidy can roll to, you know, stay in the fight longer because he gives him that damage reduction. Cassidy can keep his angle in the window, and my Roadhog can hook people into our window. That's all I'm really thinking about here, and that's just gonna maximize my window value just a little bit more. Okay, he mines here. I'm simply just gonna reposition right side so I can sustain my cast on the right. Now we just don't have a reason. I tried to Immortality Field my Roadhog. He was overcommitted and he just wasn't savable, unfortunately. But we're still going for these Immortality Fields. There, we force Genji out and we pivot back to my team. And I'm always just trying to maintain distance, but keep myself in an effective range to heal my teammates and pump out consistent damage as well. Again, Genji's in our space, I'm forcing him out. And I'm always just jumping back to this high ground, but you know, Bastion is playing low ground, so I have to recognize that. I want to play high ground, but you know, I have to sacrifice it because I need to keep my Bastion alive. It's more important. Here, this is my mistake completely. I should have been sustaining my Bastion, and I just needed to trust my Mercy there that she would be able to keep my Cassidy up, and it was my job to keep Bastion up there. Okay, we windowed zone out this left side here, and then we force out Wrecking Ball. Genji's in us, we have Mortality Field, and I'm just using my cooldowns defensively, right? To save them, if there's not a threat active, we don't need a cooldown. Okay, they make a threat, okay, use a cooldown. Force them out, and we save the other cooldown. Make another threat, okay, now I use my cooldown. And the entire time, where can I do damage? Where can I do damage? Where can I get the high ground? Where can I create distance? And then I'm just always maintaining an effective range so I can always be looking for damage, right?
Hey, thanks for that deep dive. A lot of insight pulled from both of those games, and yeah, exciting to watch as well.
Yeah, honestly, it's awesome to just be able to dive into these different heroes and talk about different parts of the game. But to talk about, I guess, really just the main ideas to keep in mind when you're playing Baptiste is, so like we said before, always look for damage. Always prioritize damage over healing. But then keep in mind, you know, how self-sustainable are your teammates? How much healing does your support have? And then you can kind of gauge how much healing you will need to do. But it's just always about being reactive with your cooldowns. You know, is there an actual threat that I need to react to? If there's not a threat, okay, then we don't need a cooldown, we don't need to heal, we just look for damage. And the second they do create that threat, now we're looking back, okay, we're healing, we're giving up space, we're using a cooldown, but then the second we force them back out, now we're re-aggressing, taking that space and looking for damage the entire time. And I want you to always save your immortality fields for ults if you can. Like, if there's ults in play, like think about their ults, like try to ult track as much as you can. Like, do they have Dragon Blade? Do they have Nano? If they do, okay, let's try to save immortality field. And because they have those ults, let's play more passive so we don't have to use it on ourselves until the ult actually comes out, right? And then ultimates, it's very important that you always keep track of your team's cooldowns. Like whenever I had that Bastion, whenever you have, say, like Zarya, right? You want her to have her bubbles so she can get aggressive with your window. If you have Orisa, you want to have her fortify. Just try to make sure your team have their most important abilities, like your Bastion turret, so they can maximize their damage during your window.
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks again, Coach Theory. Always fun to have you deep dive into a character that I've hardly touched, and I always learn something new about the character. Even though I've read the tooltips and played hours of some of these characters, to actually have the knowledge drops that you give us, very much appreciated. So, hey, for anyone who's tuning in for the first time on this one, welcome. Coach Theory does coaching on Fiverr under Coach Theory. Everything from quick 30-minute one-on-one coaching sessions. He does live coaching sessions. He'll do VOD reviews. He'll work with your team, etc. So if you want to hop over to Fiverr and check out what he has to offer, that would be amazing for him, and I would be amazing for you. Otherwise, stay tuned for more of these for each hero as we dive in. Our next hero is going to be a tank, so we're excited to dive back in there. And we'll put up another poll to see what your opinions are on what we should play. But again, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe just for future videos. And excited to have you back.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've been really glad to help you guys improve, and I hope you guys continue to improve.
Cool. All right. See you all in the next one.